Hi pals, Prox Plays Stuff here for Chinballs Gaming. Today I'm going to give you a video, like my boy Scorp, about how to do the Steam Deck. Today it's about making your non-Steam games from Epic, from GOG, appear in Steam with launchers, with images, and most importantly, with Steam controller configs. Alright, cool. So you're going to want to get into desktop mode and go into Discover. Discover's the software center that's in the Steam Deck, that's in Linux, that helps you find software from Flatpak. Heroic Games Launcher's the first one you're going to want to install. Just search Heroic in there, and then search for BoilR. BoilR is BOIL with a capital R. It's going to be a lot easier if you've got a keyboard and mouse for this kind of thing, but if you haven't, you can use the inbuilt controls on Steam Deck. Now it's going to take a little while to install this stuff, a little bit longer than it's taken me on the old speedrun there. Once we've got that, we're going to go into the Heroic Games Launcher. So in the Heroic Games Launcher, once it opens up, you're going to need to authenticate with your Epic or GOG account, whichever you're going to want to use. I'm only interested in Epic for today, so I'm going to log in and I'm going to use whichever method I need to use to get into my Epic account. Once I've logged in, I'm going to see my library appear in all its glory. Now you might not have the same ones, but you're going to have all the things you've ever got from Epic, whether they've been free or whether they've been bought by yourself. Today, I'm interested in the wonder of Football Manager 2022 because it's got a particularly difficult way to play this on Steam Deck. Any other way, because it is a heavily keyboard and mouse driven game. So in this screen, it asks you where you want to install it, but the thing I'm most interested in is what Proton version I'm going to need to use. Proton being the sort of runtime that sits behind everything. It's the version of like a Windows compatibility layer. So a good way of finding this out is to go to a website called ProtonDB. I'm just searching for it here, but it is protondb.com. And I'm going to go there and look specifically for Football Manager 2022. ProtonDB gives you a load of information about what other users who are playing games on Linux, which Steam Deck obviously runs from, how their experiences are. You can see specifically Steam Deck related information or just generally people using it on Linux. So I'm looking through and I can see 2 months ago somebody's used Proton 7 pretty successfully, and even a number of months ago Proton 6 has been used successfully. So I'm not particularly worried about my Proton version. Depending on the game you're running, you might. You can also find out some information about Steam Deck and anything we might want to know beforehand. So 7 is fine. I'm going to go ahead and install it. So there are a few bits and pieces that can trip you up. This is a game that already exists on the Steam store, so I know I'm going to be fairly good. It's got the compatibility tick or playable in the Steam store, so I know I'm okay. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and search for Football Manager 2022 on Steam, and there's a reason I'm doing this. The reason I'm doing this is I need the AppID, because we want, for the controller config to work, we're going to need to know we're going to need to let Steam know that we're talking about the same game. So I need to know the app ID. Now I need to write this down on a piece of paper. There's no point putting this in your clipboard for later use because you're going to need this back in desktop mode. So get yourself a piece of paper, look at the URL that you've got, and look specifically at the app ID part of it. So this is the number in the middle, in which in our case it's 1569040. So that's the number I'm going to write down on my post-it note, my piece of paper, so that later on I can use that number. While I'm installing, I may as well go off and get what I need to get all my images. So I'm going to steamgriddb.com. You might need an account for this. I've already got one. So when I come to log in, again, use your Steam ID. I'm logged in. I'm all good. I can go in. And the bit I need is in the Preferences section in the API tab. Now, the API is a fancy word for, well, it's a fancy term for being able to access things from somewhere else. Advanced Programmer's Interface. So it gives you a key. Mine's hidden here by my boy John Cena, obviously. You can't see it, But I've copied it into the clipboard for later use. Now I'm going to come back and install. I can't be bothered waiting. Maybe I could just speed up time a bit. Yeah, I'm going to speed up time unless you really like watching games install. Look at the clock tick away. Right. Looks like we're getting close to the end. And there it is. I could now click on it and play it, but it's going to be a very unpleasurable experience because I'm playing it from within desktop mode and I've got no controller config. It's rubbish. So, into BoilR now. So we're launching BoilR and we need to set some settings. The first thing is we need our key. We're going to paste John Cena in there, and that means that SteamGrid DB will get access by the BoilR program to ask for images. You can set your preferences here. I like animated images. I like big images. I like images for big picture. You may not, but set your prefs however you want. I never know whether we need the import from Epic Games thing because although it is an Epic game, I'm actually installing it from Heroic, and Heroic under the hood uses Legendary, so I never know if I need that either. Anyway, the other bits that I don't care about at this moment in time, I'm unticking just so that it makes BoilR's job that little bit easier. Now, it's really important you click Save Settings. If you do not click this little floppy disk Save Settings down there, it will forget everything, including your API key. Once you've got it in, you've got an images thing. You can see images for stuff you've already got on your deck, and click into each AppID to find the ones that you need. So, Football Manager, I'm going to have a little click around, I'm going to have a play, I'm going to think, do I like this image, that image? I'm just going to set it up with the images that I want for me and my deck. You can change each individually, you can change all of them, have a little look through, pick whichever you fancy. Once you've got them, import your games, and it will take the images, it will create a launcher, and it will make sure that it's prefixed in such a way that that can be launched back in gaming mode, which is where we're going now. And voila, there is our new shortcut for Football Manager 2022. We could, like we could before in Heroic, launch that game now, but it's not going to be that pleasurable. So we're going to go into the non-Steam. This bit is a bit of a workaround, it's a bit of a trick, it's not that easy, it's a bit of a faff if I'm honest. If I click play now, it'll play, but it'll play as a gamepad with joystick trackpad. Now, I could select one of the other templates to make it use mouse, and it'll be okay, but it's not going to be the community-based layouts, which Football Manager really, really needs as a game with lots of different options. The stuff that if you'd have bought this game on Steam, you'd have been able to use is not available for you. So what we have to do is go in and cheat the Steam system. We're going to change the name of the game, and we're going to change it to the AppID that we've used before, because Steam then thinks that it is the game within the Steam store with that AppID, which is Football Manager 2022. So this technique only works for games that are on Steam and either Epic or GOG, wherever you've installed them from. But this one is on Steam. It's Football Manager 2022. It's AppID 1569040. And as we can now see, there's a current layout selected, which is actually the top community layout. We can also browse other community layouts. This is cool. So we can get as many of these as we want. I do recommend getting them all now. So download any that you want, check them out, look at the different layouts, get yourself familiarized. We're going to have a little look through, make sure that it's got the sort of things that we want. And once we do, once we bring it up, let's have a good overview of that. Yeah, so we can see that we can use the sticks to access quick functions like you would on the F keys on a keyboard, that sort of thing. I'm going to actually export the layout. This is quite important to do, because if you don't do this, it's basically gone the moment you do the next stage. So I'm just going to save this as a personal layout. It's a bit annoying because if somebody updates the layout, you don't get the updates, but it is, for the most part, people don't do that anyway. So you've got the layouts that you need. Once you've done that, if you were to press play on this now, it would not work. It would think you're trying to play Football Manager 2022 on Steam, you don't have Football Manager 2022 on Steam, stop trying to cheat. Okay, thank you, Steam. I don't want my game to be called that ridiculous number anyway, so I want it to be called Football Manager 2022, so it fits in with everything else. And now, when I go back in the controller settings, you'll see it's taking it back because it believes it's a different game again. It might look like it's got that config. It's actually looks down there and it's got all the same options as it did, but they will not work if you try launch it. It will work like as the default one. So you have to load your own local config. But now is the time. And there we go. It's Football Manager 2022. It's the Epic version. It's launched through Steam using a nice icon, using some nice banner images, most importantly, with the controller config. So when I go in, yeah, it's acting like a mouse, but also it's got all these funky shortcuts so I can access all the different things using the features of the Steam controller. Thanks for watching. I've been Prox Plays Stuff today for Chinballs Gaming. If you want any more videos, check out Scorp, he's got tons. All here on Chinballs Gaming. I've been Prox Plays Stuff on Twitter and mainly on Twitch. Thanks for having me. See you all soon.